change the world.
On we go.
Hello and welcome back to Coffee Over Apples. My name is Steph. This is one of the saddest videos that I can't believe I have to make this early in 2024. It is a rant while cooking video. I am currently in my kitchen, but I'm going to be shrinking this video and putting it in the corner so that you can see me make something. I'm recording this video before I film the cooking portion, so editing stuff. Go ahead and show everybody what we're making today. Alas, my heart is broken because I desperately wanted to read this book and love it, okay? Now, I am not going to tell you to not read the rest of the author's writing. This is an indie published author. They do deserve to get attention. One, because we don't have enough indie published authors who write romance that is queer and the author is also gay. We don't have enough gay men romance authors writing gay romance. So that being said, I will continue this series because my best friend loves the second book in this series, and I need to know what happens to the side character who's getting the side rep in book 3. However, this specific one really let me down, and I was debating not doing a review for this, but it was such a disappointment for me, especially because it's about Teacher of the Year, and I'm currently nominated for Teacher of the Year by my district. So I got a little bit of insight that I think is going to be able to be fuel for me to give a clear review for this. Also, I know it's getting a lot of praise online, and while I do think that there are certain people who are going to love this, this specifically was not for me. Premise of this is that Marvin is a teacher, a kindergarten teacher, and he lives in Maine. He lives in Portland, Maine, which I'm very familiar with Portland, Maine. And so he is currently being nominated for Teacher of the Year. Now, I will say that this as an opportunity is great because as part of the process in many districts, in order to fulfill the nomination for Teacher of the Year, you have to get a parent letter of recommendation. And he has a new student in his kindergarten class who just moved to town, and she has a single dad. So what better way to build the relationship with this parent? One, because it's the single parent of a child who's going through a lot of transition. Her parents just got a divorce. She moved from another state. She's in kindergarten. There's a lot of big emotions. She is also one of the few Black students in the class because her dad is a Black man. And Portland is a predominantly white town. So there's a lot of fuel here for big emotions, the child to need extra support, and the dad to need extra support, and also for Marvin to need support for being Teacher of the Year. Does that necessarily happen? No. And that's where my biggest disappointment is with this book. There are triggers in here for someone who has panic attacks on page multiple times, someone who is dealing with abuse and dealing with alcoholism. So that being said, if those are triggers for you, I highly suggest that you read the foreword that's in here discussing triggers, and also just know that going in. But I didn't expect those triggers to be the main plot point for our relationship, okay? So here we go. Olin is rich. Olin ran a tech company that he sold, and now he owns basically a mansion on the coast in Portland, Maine. And his daughter is new to the school and is in Marvin's class. So when they first make eye contact, it is at the welcome to school, new parent, let's onboard you meeting with the principal. Can I tell you, I've been an educator for a very long time, not in this setting, and not in this affluent a town, but this is not a normal occurrence to get like a onboard meeting every time there's a new student in the class, because there's constantly new students in the class and you constantly need to be adjusting. But again, that is subject to the economic and social statuses of the town and what's going on geographically, politically, culturally, all of that stuff, right? So I digress. He is lucky enough to be in a position where he gets to meet with the parents every time and also send an email to all the parents saying, hello, we have a new student, please welcome them, and all this jazz. Beautiful, wonderful, right? The moment they lock eyes, they are so sexually attracted to each other. And I know that this is a romance. And there's also got a lot of smut, okay? The smut in here, stunning. 10 of 10. Beautiful, absolutely. If you're looking for that and you're looking for that done well, wonderful, wonderful place. But if you're looking for a plot, that's the part that didn't work for me, okay? So they got the hots for each other and were fully in Marvin's POV. There were some times where I really wish that we were in Olen's POV, because the man had zero personality. We knew nothing about him, and every time he came on page, it was either to flirt with Marvin or to have sex with Marvin. And it wasn't until the very end, like the last chapter, that we really got a meaningful, I think, conversation between the two, because of how much miscommunication happened in here. And miscommunication that had nothing to do with teaching, okay? The author himself stated leaving the profession because of the challenges that being an educator in America faces. And none of that had to do with the plot here. Marvin was, quote unquote, the perfect teacher, even though, honestly, everything he did on page was normal and like expected, right? Marvin just did his job, and he got Teacher of the Year and called extraordinary for just doing his job. And I'm not saying that every teacher shouldn't be recognized for sticking it out and actually doing a good job, but we didn't get to see him do anything extraordinary, right? When he's interviewed, he tells people that he does things with family. He tells them that he does more for the community. But is he really, though? I mean, he took the kids on a field trip at one point, but really the field trip was just fodder so that he can ask a parent to come on the field trip, and Olan signed up because he wanted to be close to Marvin, and it was just them talking on the bus the whole time, kind of like giving each other lustful eyes. But that's really it. So we didn't really see any challenges. Sure, a kid threw up at one point, but like, I've been thrown up on a bunch of times, and just about every other teacher I know of has gotten some bodily fluid on them at some point, and that's just unfortunately job hazard. And so dealing with that doesn't make him extraordinary, right? I wanted to see him do more for the community. Start a club, start maybe fundraisers to help a student or a parent. Be there for this child who might be having big emotional breakdowns because, hey, children need support. She doesn't have her mother in her life. Her mother's on the other side of her country running a business, and she's alone. I mean, she has a nanny, but that's not the same, right? So like, there was so much opportunity here for this situation to be the means in which these two are forced to be together to support the child. But alas, it wasn't. There was actually more of the baby's in the other room, she's sleeping, let's go fuck on the couch. And I'm like, sir, not what I wanted. It really is like the expectations that I had didn't feel met. But if you're not an educator, you might like this. If you got a teacher kink, this is for you. Unfortunately, it's a little too close to home for me, so I'm like, yeah, can't do that. Not for me, and that's okay. The whole like ever dreamt of having some fun in the classroom kind of thing, not my vibe. Also, Olan addressing Marvin as Mr. Block, which is his last name, by his like teacher name, that's just not my vibe. But if those kinds of things are your vibe, you're going to like this. So those things particularly, I don't have issue with them. That's just like a taste thing. The things that I more have issue with are the way that teaching was used as the plot point in this. The relationship that Marvin had with Olin was solely based on sex. Like, at a certain point, we start to learn more about Olan's past, and there's like a really small conversation in the beginning when Olan says, oh, do you want to have a drink? And then Marvin goes, oh yeah, I don't really drink, family issues, how about you? And Olan says, yeah, same. And like, that's the conversation. That's the entire conversation. And from there, we have all these instances of miscommunication where someone says, they should have known that I had a history of dealing with alcoholism. Why didn't they think to stop this from happening? Or why would they act this way? Or why didn't Olan tell Marvin that he has a history of alcoholism and that he's a recovering alcoholic? Because that triggered him and sent him into a panic attack, and he's upset that he didn't tell him, but he never communicated that he had issues with that. Like, I'm so upset. 2 points where that became an issue, and they're falling back and saying, so-and-so should not have made that comment because it should have been communicated that I am triggered. And I'm like, sir, you never told anybody that you get triggered. You never told anybody that you have any history with this. You just made it seem nonchalant and moved on with your day. So because you never had a foundational conversation about your family trauma, how could you be mad at him for not thinking to tell you? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. So that's that. That part really made me upset. Also, Marvin is a jerk. Marvin was mean to just about everybody. He went on a date with a character in the beginning who I think gets side rep in book 3. This man did nothing wrong, okay? This man, clearly something's going on. I think it's been confirmed by the author that this particular character has OCD, and you could see that, right? But Marvin was a jerk and judging him, and Marvin basically said to himself, like, I can't go on another date with somebody who does these kinds of things. I'm already broken, and I need somebody that's going to heal me, not for me to heal them. That is such an unhealthy way to look at relationships. Like, Marvin, sir, you need therapy. And by the book, end of the book, he does agree to go to therapy. Thanks, Olan, for that. I guess you do have some feelings somewhere that aren't related to your penis, because wouldn't know otherwise. Man could have been anybody. Had no personality. I was like, sir, act breakup in here really pissed me off for that reason. It didn't. And the way that Marvin, I was like, oh my gosh, a character that has ADHD and a character that is a teacher and is under a lot of stress and has anxiety. Like, I'm looking to be able to relate to this character. And sure enough, he was just a jerk the entire time. Anytime that these two would have some sort of miscommunication, sure, he would run away because he has a panic attack, but then he would not respond to him, just leave this guy, leave him to blow up his phone and start playing songs and acting like they broke up, when it's like, sir, you didn't say anything. You didn't say anything. You didn't break up. You just ran away. So when are you going to take ownership? And like, maybe a moment with his students where he could have seen his students not taking ownership over something, and then maybe thought to himself, maybe the way that I'm communicating with the person that I'm in love with, I could use better communication skills. Like, showing that a teacher also learns from their students would be realistic, but that wasn't there. And again, that made me so angry. The other thing that really made me uncomfortable was like, what is his deal with not liking his hair and his deal with not liking his hair? Like, they both have curly hair. They both liked the other person's hair, but they didn't like their own hair. And I'm like, why is this a thing? He's Jewish. He's black. Why don't they like their curly hair? Why is this something we're even talking about? Especially because I think it might have been Olan who said, was it Olan? At some point where he was talking about his past and basically said that when he was little, he didn't want to play football with his older brothers. So his mom said, here, come read a book. And because he didn't want to play football, like, that makes him, she should have known he was gay. Or maybe it was Marvin. I don't know. I don't care which one it was. Either way, the conversation was that not liking football means you're automatically gay. And I was like, what? Excuse me? That doesn't make sense. Just a plethora of things that made me upset. When my best friend told me that the second book in the series, which is Mistletoe and Michigas, was so freaking good, and then we both read this one, and she also said, what the fuck is this? Completely bamboozled. But like I said, all of the things that I'm saying here are because of my insight as an educator. I don't know if anybody else really feels this way. I saw a couple low-star reviews on Goodreads of people saying similar things, and I'm like, yes, somebody gets it. So I do plan on continuing the series and hoping that it gets a lot better. But anyway, so I gave this 2 stars just because there was some points where I was enjoying it in the beginning. The first quarter, loved it. And then it just went straight downhill. But anyway, I made a thing. I hope you like what I made. I don't know what I made, but I'm sure it's delicious. I post videos whenever I feel like it. Thanks for listening to this rant. Bye.
On we go.